Now, in the ruku' position, I have to do the following. Number one, my palms of the hands are spread and grabbing my knees like this. So the fingers are spread. My back is straight. So it's not like this, and it's not stretching out downwards. The sunnah is to keep your back straight, as if someone puts water on it, it will remain. It would not spill. I don't know how bad I'm doing this or how I'm doing this. I don't see myself, but I try my level best to do it according to the sunnah. A head, as described in the hadith, should not be pointed up like this, and it should not be tilted down like this. So it should be normal way of doing it. So this is the ruku'. Now you ask me, where should I look, Sheikh? It's an issue of dispute. Sheikh Al-Albani says, in the standing position, we were told to look at the prostration spot. But in the ruku', there is no mentioning of that, which made some scholars say, you should look at the spot of your sujood, prostration, like Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. But this would be proven to be difficult, because if you do this, when you're doing ruku' and you're looking at the position of your prostration, you will find that your head is a bit tilted. So Sheikh Al-Albani says, either you look between the area of your prostration and your feet, so in the middle, or you look between your feet, like so. And this area is something that is open. The Prophet did not mention, alayhi salatu wasalam, any specific place. The companions did not describe any specific place. So inshallah, it is more than possible to do whatever you think is best for your salat. Now, after finishing my ruku', during it, I have to repeat the dhikr. And what is the dhikr? I have to say, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, which is mandatory. And 1 is the minimum. 3 is recommended. The sky is the limit afterwards. I can say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. I can say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim wa bihamdih. I can say Allahumma laka raka'tu, bika amantu, laka aslamt, khasha'a laka sam'i wa basari wa 'azmi wa mukhi wa mastaqallat bihi qadami. Different kinds of dhikr you can say. The minimal requirement is 1, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. This is mandatory. You cannot play with it. So we say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim while I'm in the ruku'. Among the mistakes people do is like this. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. So they say it while going down or coming up. And this is not valid. You have to say it when you are totally in ruku', relaxed, every bone is back to its place, by saying Subhana Rabbi al-Azim wa bihamdih, once enough. Then while rising up, you say Sami Allahu liman hamidah, and you raise your hands again. So we raised our hands in the inauguration takbir. We raise our hands when we go for ruku'. We raise our hands when we rise up from ruku'. And this is the sunnah according to the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, in Sahih al-Bukhari. And he's describing the Prophet's prayer, alayhi salatu wasalam. And we say, Sami Allahu liman hamidah. This is mandatory for an individual praying on his own, for an imam leading prayers, for worshippers. And I follow that by saying, Rabbana lakal hamd. Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Allahumma Rabbana lakal hamd. Allahumma Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Either one of these 4 does the job. And this is said by the imam, by the individual, and by the followers. which means that if I'm praying behind an imam and he rises from ruku' saying Sami Allahu liman hamida, I, as a follower, do not say Sami Allahu liman hamida. I just answer what he has said. So, I've raised or I raised and I got up from ruku' position saying Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. There are a lot of adhkar I can say afterwards, but this is what's essential. You can say ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما شئت من شيء بعد. You can say ربنا ولك الحمد حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. And do I place my hands on the chest or leave it on the sides? Either way is possible. What do you suggest, Sheikh? I personally follow the hadith of Wa'il ibn Hujr, which says that whenever the Prophet ﷺ rised from ruku', whenever the Prophet ﷺ stood up, he used to put the right on the left on the chest. So now after I've risen from ruku', what is this position called? Is it sujood? Is it ruku'? What is it? It's standing up. So according to the hadith, then I should do this. The majority of scholars say no, you have to put it on your side. But there is not a single hadith that stated that the Prophet used to put his hands on his side in any position. So it's an issue of dispute, but akhi, again, this is a sunnah. You put it on your chest, you put it on your side, there's no problem. Don't make an issue out of it. Don't label people or classify people or think that people are better than you or worse than you. No. Just leave it as it is. This is the conviction. Leave them. So I'm in the ruku' position. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim wa bihamdih. Sami Allahu liman hamidah. Rabbana wa lakal hamd hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fih.
Sami Allahu liman hamidah.
This is my standing up from ruku'. What should I do now? I should go for sujood. Now for sujood, there are two ways. A difference of opinion among scholars. Should I land first on my knees or should I land first on my hands? It's an issue of dispute. And the reason of that is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said that one should not go down like a camel does when the camel wants to sit. Rather, he should put his hands first before his knees. And understanding whether the hands of a camel are their elbows or the knees in his feet, it's an issue of dispute. Either way is okay, inshallah. So, however you feel comfortable with, you should do it. I personally, due to age, due to praying on marble or stones, whenever there are pebbles in the ground, if you land from the standing position on your knees, would surely injure yourself, one way or the other. For elders, it's difficult to go on their knees, especially if they have knee problems. It's always best to go first on the hand. It's like a shock absorber. It absorbs the fall itself. It eases the pressure on and the weight on the knees. So how to do this? This is what we'll, inshallah, show you now. So, in order to do sujood, you will find that I'll take my glasses. Now I can't see you, but alhamdulillah, you can see me. Why do you take your glasses off, Sheikh? Because it will hinder putting the sujood spots properly. What do you mean by sujood? Prostration, as the Prophet said, I was ordered to prostrate on 7 limbs. He said, the face, and he pointed to his nose, meaning the forehead and the nose. These are related. This is one organ. The hands, the knees, and the feet. These are 7. So, I want to go to sujood. Do I raise my hands? No. I just say Allahu Akbar while falling to sujood. And this is what I do. Allahu Akbar. This is the way of performing sujood. What are the things I should paying attention to? Before I do the prostration, I'm still in the standing position. You have to know that, first of all, my hands should be pointing to the Qibla. So my hands are not this way and are not this way, rather they are pointing to the Qibla. Now, where should I place my hands? I have the option either to place my hands next to my shoulders or a little bit close to my ears. My knees are not so close together, they are apart. My feet, they are close to each other, erect, with some toes, not all of them, because it's impossible to have all your toes pointing to the Qibla, but the toes that are bendable can point to the Qibla. My arms are wide and spread, so my biceps are not close to my sides. So I have to spread as I'm spreading my wings. And my stomach is not touching my thighs. Some people just go very down. And I'll show you quickly, hopefully to the best of my knowledge and ability. So my forehead, my nose must touch the ground. And these 7 limbs must touch the ground throughout the sujood. Because part of the famous mistakes is having your feet dangling. Or some of the brothers having the left hand on the ground and the other hand while prostrating, playing with his beard or looking at something in his pocket. So he's prostrating on 6 limbs, and this renders his sujood void if he does this without any legitimate reason. So I was standing up. Now I'm falling into the sujood position and I'm saying Allahu Akbar in between. So let's look at how I make the sujood. This is one of the ways of doing it. So my hands and fingers should be pointing towards the Qibla. My face, my forehead, and my nose are touching the ground. I should have my arms apart and away from my body. And at the same time, my stomach is not touching my thighs. Some brothers do this, and this is wrong. And this is too much spread. So the appropriate way is either having my hands next to my ears or to my shoulders. I can have this one here, and I can have this one here. Look at my feet. They are touched together, not far away. They are touched together with my toes bent towards the Qibla as much as possible. Now, if I'm praying next to people, to my right and to my left, if I do this, I'm gonna annoy them and maybe harm them. So it is permissible when you are in a tight position to put your elbows on your thighs or inside. What is haram and prohibited is to do this. This is prohibited, which I have my forearms on the ground like a dog. And the Prophet said that this is totally prohibited. What should I say when I'm prostrating? Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la wa bihamdih. Sabbuhun qaddusun Rabbul malaikati wal ruh. So many du'as. The minimum requirement, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Can I make dua? Go ahead, make dua. As much as I want, as much as you want. Oh Allah, pay my debts. Oh Allah, guide my children. Oh Allah, guide my wife. Oh Allah, get me a second wife. Oh Allah, grant me health. Whatever. In Arabic. Sheikh, I'm non-Arab and I can't say it in Arabic. No problem, say it in your own language. Oh, this is interesting. Yes, the closest you are is when you are in sujood position. So if I'm in my sujood position and I would like to sit between the two prostrations, I say, Allahu Akbar. And I sit on my left foot. This is called iftirash. And I erect my right foot with as many possible toes towards the Qibla. My hands are on my thighs and my knees. So it's in between. The area is possible. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. It's here. Sit normally. Don't be so technical. Sometimes people are so technical, they forget the prayer, they forget what you're reciting, and just think, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Be natural. Follow the sunnah, acknowledge that this is the sunnah, the way of the Prophet, and do it naturally. And when I sit like this, I say, Rabbi ghfirli. Minimum is once. I can say 10 times, 10, 20 times. I can say 2, 3, 4, whatever. Rabbi ghfirli, Rabbi ghfirli. Issue of dispute. Is saying Rabbi ghfirli mandatory or sunnah? Some scholars say it's sunnah. I am inclined to say that it is mandatory because the Prophet ﷺ always used to say it. Any other dua? Yes, there is a longer dua. Rabbi ghfirli warhamni wa'afini wajburni wahdini warfa'ni. All of this is possible. This is the prostration or the sitting between the two prostrations. It's called iftirash. And if you would like to show it from behind, I'm sitting on my left foot and my right foot is erect. This is the sunnah. Sheikh, I have problems with my right foot, so can I put it down like this? No problem. Sheikh, I'd like to sit with 2 feet on one another because this is the only way I feel comfortable. No problem. Your prayer is valid. You will lose the reward of the sunnah. But your prayer is totally valid, akhi. No problem. Not only that, Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, at the end of his time, he used to sit cross-legged. And when some of his companions followed him, he said, no, this is not the sunnah. I'm doing this because of my knees. You should sit like the sunnah. But the position is what? Sitting. So no matter how you sit, the right thing, but the more you are following the Prophet, the better it is for your reward. I must do a second sujood. And it's the same format. I say, Allahu Akbar. The same thing exactly, Subhana Rabbil A'la. Now, after I finish my sujood, I have to rise up to the second rak'ah. There is a sunnah that is called Jalsatul Istiraha, where I stand up. Before I stand up, I give a small pause. And then I say, Allahu Akbar. So when standing up, one should not stand with 4 fingers between the 2 feet, like some schools of thought say. And you go to the masjid and you find the people standing like this. What is this? If you want to answer the call of nature, go ahead, but don't come to the prayer when you're this tight. So this is, the way I'm standing is wrong. Some brothers, when they want to come and pray, they do this. Why? He says, the one on the right is far away from me, and the one on the left is far from me. And the brothers is doing this and doing this. Akhi, what are you doing? This is done in karate, in taekwondo, but not in prayer. So how should I stand? Stand normally, akhi. The width of your shoulders should be relevant to the distance between your 2 feet. Don't stand like this, because this is not pointing to the Qibla, and don't stand like this, because this means you have to see your orthopedic surgeon, you have a problem with your knees, but stand in a normal way, either like this or a little bit away from each other. Make it natural the way you stand. So I rose to the second rak'ah. Do I raise my hands? No. I simply say Allahu Akbar and resume my second rak'ah exactly as the first rak'ah. And I recite the Fatiha. I recite an optional surah afterwards, as according to the Sunnah. Now, one thing that we need to pay attention to, and 90% of Muslims are doing, unfortunately, it is a mandatory act of reciting the Quran, of making dhikr, of making dua, is to move your lips. What do you mean, Sheikh? If you pray the Fatiha like this, I just said Ameen in my head. I did not move my lips. I did not move my tongue. Your prayer is invalid. Oof, invalid. Yes, it's totally invalid. Why? See, when I think of punching my cameraman in the face, or taking the wallet of the man sitting there and robbing him of his money, I didn't utter it, I didn't act upon it, there is no sin on me. Whatever goes in my mind, there is no sin. Likewise, if I just simply recite the Quran in my mind without moving my lips with it, it does not count. It's just scanning things in my head. I have to say, I have to move my lips and my tongue. And this is why when some of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ came to him, he said to him, your tongue must remain moist with the remembrance of Allah. Which means that you have to move your tongue when reciting the Quran, saying Allahu Akbar. The people, they do like this. And they keep on their prayer without moving the lips, and this is totally wrong. One of the things that a lot of the Muslims also make a mistake in is keeping their eyes closed. So what are you doing? Well, I am daydreaming. I think I'm on the beach in Côte d'Azur, in Cannes or Nice. Wow, it's fun. Allahu Akbar. What? This is totally haram. Why are you closing your eyes? He said, oh, Sheikh, I'm distracted. Whenever I keep my eyes open, the man in front of me is moving, and the next one to me is touching his pocket, and the third one is picking his nose, and every time I feel tempted to look at my watch, and sometimes I say, Sami Allahu liman hamida, and I watch the chandeliers and the lights and the writing on the wall, I get distracted, so I close my eyes. This is not permissible. Why? Because neither the Prophet ﷺ nor his companions had ever done this, and they had more things to distract them than you. Now, if you tell me that there's a child in front of you while praying, sometimes you get these situations. You get a 3-year or 4-year-old child standing in front of you, looking into your eyes and doing faces to you. This would make you break into laughter. So in order to avoid this, you close your eyes for maybe 5-10 seconds until he goes away. This is okay. But to think that tranquility comes only through closing your eyes while doing this, this is against the sunnah and it's not permissible. Also, one of the common mistakes is that when you are in the ruku' position and you say Sami Allahu liman hamidah, people think that this is time for dua qunut. So they say, Sami Allahu liman hamidah, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, hamdan kathiran, tayyiban, mubarakan. This is wrong. The raising of the hands should be Sami Allahu liman hamidah. If you want to make dua, either put your hands to your sides or to what I have indicated to earlier, put the right on the left on the chest and say, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, hamdan kathiran, tayyiban, mubarakan fi. This is only done in qunut of witr. When you're making dua in qunut of witr, not during your prayers as usual. I bow and I prostrate and then I sit for the first tashahhud. So when I rise up from the second sujood,
مال هو المولى الأجل واجب عند الوراء إكرامه وقليل المال فيهم يستقل كل أهل العصر غمر وأنا منهم فاترك